Hey, we are back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan, and it's good to be back here. We take a little break during the summer, but fall semester's here. Strategies for Living is back with a bunch of new, very, very powerful life strategists, starting today with a guy that reads people like you and I read books. I would love to be able to read people like intuitive counselor Robert Caruso, who is a returned life strategist here to Strategies for Living from Dallas, Texas. So we've got him on Skype today. Robert, welcome to Strategies. And I see you've got a fan with you.
That's my only fan.
That's your only fan? Well, I tell you what, after we get through today, my prediction is you're going to have more than that fan.
Couple more, okay.
Yeah. Because we're going to talk about a lot of things today, but one of the things we're going to talk about, and I want to remind people, you're going to be coming into town every so often. You come from Dallas over to Shreveport, and you spend a Saturday reading people, and it's outstanding. We've gotten so many wonderful comments about your work over here. You'll be coming over on Saturday, September the 24th. We'll tell people how they can come and get an appointment with you. So we'll do that. Robert, are you still with me? And I think we have, for some reason, we have lost our internet connection today. Well, there you go, folks. You come out. You come out with live TV, and you've got new technology, relatively new technology like Skype, and everything was going fine. And then we lost Robert Caruso. So we're going to get him back. Can we kind of go to break early, and let's see if we can get Robert Caruso back? You're in for a treat. Keep your fingers crossed. We'll get Robert Caruso back online, and we'll be back with you here on Strategies for Living. Stay with us.
While millions of their citizens have been suffering in the Civil War. One report author said, it seems that a very...
They had a career day and a musician came to the class and he did a little demonstration, played saxophone, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do the rest of my life.
Wound up being a music educator, and it's been my life for the past, I can't even count how many years. In high school, I wanted to be a professional trumpet player, and it turned out music education was really where I needed to be. And for all these years, that's where all the time and the effort has taken place.
What I get out of music, it's like an expression of the soul, and I hate to sound sappy, but it is. It's like anything that you feel, you can convey it without words.
It takes me to a place where my words don't know how to get me, if that makes any sense. When I don't know how to put my emotions into words, there's almost always a song out there that can do it for me.
Some of the things I get out of teaching personally is actually seeing students get it. One of the subjects that I really love to teach is music theory. And many of our students come to us with a love of music and the hope of studying music and either performing professionally or being music educators. To get to that end, they need to study the music theory aspect of it. What do the notes mean? What's on the page?
Being a community college, people look down on the college because of that, and I think they're wrong. So the quality doesn't suffer at all. I mean, it's unreal. They expect the same thing out of you at a community college as they do at a four-year institution.
And the concepts that you learn and, techniques, and you can't find it at every school.
One of the main things that we try and do here at Bossier Parish Community College with our music students is to instill a good work ethic.
One of the scariest things that I've ever had to do was get up on the stage to do my student recitals like everybody else is required to do as a major, but the instructors help you through it. I mean, they're great. You couldn't ask for a better program here.
When I leave Bossier Parish Community College, I'm gonna go get my bachelor's, and then I'm gonna go get my doctorate. and hopefully teach at a college.
One of the aspects of our music program that we're always working on is recruiting quality and talented students.
And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. You're watching Strategies for Living here on TV. Don't forget you can listen to Strategies for Living. That's every Sunday morning. News Radio 710 Keel. Thursdays on healthylife.net out of Los Angeles. And you can find us online, strategiesforliving.com. Today, with the man who reads people like I read books, Robert Caruso. Intuitive counselor Robert Caruso. So how do you do that? How do you astound me, because how do you know the things that you know just meeting somebody and tuning in? People come and they ask you questions about their lives, about relationships that they're in, what people are thinking, and you have this way. That's why I say you read people. How do you do that? How do you read people like I read a book?
Well, it's kind of an expansion on what everybody else does, which is everybody has intuition. Everybody can kind of sense things. And I've been doing this long enough that I've been able to really single out certain feelings, thoughts, visions, and this sort of thing. Right now, the field that I'm in is pretty popular with a lot of people, and the belief is that all they have to do is just start and everything will be clear.
Right.
And it's not true.
Right.
What happens is you get impressions, kind of like your, on the internet or the television. You know, the vibration hits the television, and then the mechanism makes sense of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Color and content and sound, and your brain is the same way. It's able to do that too, but we're taught not to hear it. Do you see?
Yeah, we teach ourselves, because if we heard all of that, we probably wouldn't be able to, when we're little bitty, learn our ABCs and our 1, 2, 3s and all that kind of
It would be
stuff.
confusing, no doubt about it.
Right.
But I'll give you this kind of a funny story, but it kind of puts that thing in perspective. My sister owned an adult foster care place where she dealt with people with schizophrenia, different types of mental issues. And that
Behavioral
Right.
type things, yeah.
Right. Well, this one girl, she's about 23. She stood in front of me. She goes, we got to talking. She goes, I hear things that other people don't hear, so they give me this drug. And then sometimes I'll see things that other people aren't seeing, and they give me this.
Well, that describes you, Robert.
Yeah, I did. I said, well, damn, they do that, and people give me money. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you kind of go, okay, is there something wrong with her? Or is she just not interpreting it?
Right. Is she just not understanding all that's really coming through?
Yeah, and if she understood it, would she be okay all of a sudden? Because now she can put it where it needs to be. Everything in perspective. So she's not doing something this voice might say, do you see?
Right.
So she's able to run her life because everything is in perspective. It isn't chaos anymore.
Right.
Do you see?
Right.
And when you do this, your question is, how do I do this? And basically what I do is I tune into somebody's name or their voice or whatever, and I'll get a feeling like...
Is that, would you say that's energy? That's a vibration? Are you tuning? Are you actually tuning into that energy level, Robert?
Right, exactly. It's like changing a channel, really. It's like, okay, I want to read Scott, okay? How do I identify Scott? I identify Scott through a client, maybe. And so now I can tune in to Scott. Now I can feel how he feels. Do you see? It takes a little practice.
Yeah.
But you feel how he feels. And then you imagine, okay, he's feeling this. Then you imagine what he's seeing. And whatever you think you feel like he's seeing is the reason he's feeling that way. Do you see? It sounds more complicated than it is, really.
Yeah.
But it's just about identifying stuff.
How long have you been doing this?
About 29 years.
29 years. Did you know when you were small that you had this gift? Did you know when you were a teenager? When did you discover this? When did you
Well-
hone the skill?
Well, I think when I was real little, I used to pick stuff up and then I quit, and mostly because of other stuff. I don't know why it quit, but it just did. But I'm talking about 4 or 5 years old. I
Right.
remember a voice telling me something, whatever, and then I never didn't do it much after that. My parents were really, by definitions, like psychopaths, you know. And so I had a lot of defense that I had to deal with.
You had a lot of things going on in your young life that you had to
Right.
defend against.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I went into drugs and stuff, which really was self-medicating to deal with all the anger and the craziness. And then it's when I let go of that, all of a sudden everything started picking up. Like when I got to where I can unravel my anger. Do you see?
Right.
And then all of a sudden the intuition started coming, because what I realized was all of our distractions, you know, fear and apprehension and you know, insecurity, which is all really fear. Whenever we have that, it's like a blanket over a lamp. Do you see? So you have, okay, your uncle touched you when you were 6, so you got a little blanket there. Maybe something happened when you were 12, you got another one, or more. Eventually, there is no light. Do you see? All there is robotic.
That's a good analogy. That's a good way to put
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And like your job, just like mine, I mean, in different ways.
We take
is
off the
take
blankets.
those blankets off, yeah. And it's when I went into my anger, I started realizing that I had this knots of anger connected to really weird things, you know, like certain smells or a certain proximity of one person to myself. All these different things would trip me off. Do you see? And when I would break that, unravel that, so I didn't have it anymore, my intuition got stronger. So I've been teaching people that they have it in them. It is something that you allow. It's not something you have to learn necessarily.
We've already got it. We just have to get out of the way.
Right. And then the next step is to be able to get underneath emotions. For example, you're feeling an emotion off of somebody. Okay, is it towards you or is it not even about you? Or are they having it because of something they remember or something they're afraid of? You know, there's all these labyrinth of understanding in there.
Right.
So my job is to get in there and find out what that is. Do you see?
And to take that puzzle apart that is the individual and what may be going on with them.
In a sense, kind of dissect it.
Yeah.
You see.
One of the things that I want to talk about today with you, and again, you and I have started a lot of working together. You doing what you do, and me doing what I do, and we work with several clients together. It's been outstanding. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, and we'll have more coming on that. But in point of introduction with this, you're not what people would call a traditional. I mean, I'm not putting anybody down, but I mean, if you watch TV and you watch the lady on TLC, maybe you saw the show. There's several popular. You don't do those kind of things.
No, I'm not an entertainer.
You're not an entertainer, and a lot of that is entertainment, isn't it? It's produced. It's highly produced. Not that their skills aren't good.
If they let those guys be wrong.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, not that those people's skills aren't relevant or good. Some of them are, but it's highly produced, and it's a circus in some cases, isn't it?
Carnival act. Yeah.
And you're not into that.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. What it does to me is it keeps the business or the field in the crazy closet. You know what I mean? I think it's necessary at this time of our evolution to teach people that this isn't a game. Do you see? You can make a game out of it, like hypnotists do.
Right.
You know, one hypnotist may do amazing work with his hypnotism, and another one might turn someone and think he's a chicken.
Right.
You know what I'm
on
saying?
stage and entertain a crowd of 200 people. Right.
But see, the problem is, or is that if people understood intuition, how it's done, what to do with it, what it's all about, then they wouldn't be taken in by these cornballs that are gonna bring back their past love and gonna make them rich and pray over a candle, all this nonsense.
Right.
People wouldn't get hurt as much.
Right.
Do you see?
And that's a good point.
It's such a simple thing. Like one time, these cops came into, I had a store called the Rabbit Hole. And,
This is over in Dallas, right?
In Dallas, yeah. And these cops come in, and they looked at me sideways. They acted like I was a head shop, And they looked at me and go, "What do you do? What do you do here?" I go, "I'm an intuitive, and I teach people how to develop their intuition." He goes, "Oh, really?" And I says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, wouldn't it be cool in your job if you knew when you walked up on a guy if he's the guy you're looking for? Or if he might be holding a weapon? Or if he's going to try to run or jump you? Wouldn't you be happy about knowing how to do that?" He goes, "Well, I'd like to think I already do." I says, "You do. I can teach you how to do it better." And he was happy after that.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it's taking the mystery. It's really, you said the word fear earlier. What we don't understand, we tend to fear, we tend to stay away from, and that's really what's happened in a lot of cases around this, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like the worst demon in the universe is somebody's imagination. I mean, it could be amazing in creation, but also amazing in destruction.
Yeah. Your choice. You are an ultimate. You and I are creators. You and I are creators. Okay, so you're going to be in town talking with people, 30-minute sessions, very affordable, on Saturday, September the 24th. If people would like to book a time, they can give you a call at 469-546-8017, or they can call my office, 227-9002. You'll be at the Center for Therapy at 8730 Uri Drive on Saturday, September the 24th. We probably have some people watching us now that say, okay, I'm hearing Robert say, I can do this. I've got this gift, I just don't have it developed. Coming to someone like you, sitting down and getting into that energy that happens in that 30-minute segment with you, does that increase, can that increase our own intuitive ability, Robert?
Yeah, if you're open to it, sure.
Yeah.
My feeling on that is it's a vibrational thing, so your vibration will connect, and you'll start feeling stuff too. I mean, when I do these group classes, a lot of times people get really juiced up because of other people. Do you see?
Yeah.
It's like the whole room gets synchronized, and then the vibration raises.
Yeah.
Pretty fascinating. Yeah.
And again, that's more proof that we are all, in a sense, connected. That we're all there's an energy that connects
I think we're more
everything.
connected than we're not. Yeah.
We want to convince ourselves on a day-by-day basis, don't we, that we're not.
Right. And it's really not. I mean, we have our individuality, of course, but the core of who we are is still the same.
Yeah.
Have
you ever found somebody that you just couldn't read, like a book?
Yeah, people don't have to be read. They can block you off. They can really block you off. I mean, some people like reading through a mud hole, where somebody else would be like an open channel. And it may be just the difference of the day.
Yeah.
You have to calm them down in order to read them sometimes. Sometimes you have to really engage them. One of the things I used to do is I used to hold their hands, and I used to tell them, imagine electricity coming from your right arm into my left, then out of my right into yours in a circuit. And then I say, okay, visualize it going faster and faster and faster. Eventually, we're in sync, even despite their apprehension. We're in sync, so now we read very easy.
Yeah. When you get into sync with someone like that, you can read them down to their shoes, can't you?
Oh yeah.
I've seen you do it.
Nail it pretty good.
I've seen you do it. What do you say? And I've said this to you before. This isn't new information. I was skeptical when you and I first met. The first time that you actually read me. Didn't take you but about 3 seconds, I don't think, to blow me away. And you know, how did you know that? How did you know that information? What do you say to people that, you know? And I think most people that I've talked to about you, whether they've worked with us in a counseling setting, we'll talk about that in a minute because that's some of the work we do. But how do you? Most of us, myself included, we don't want to be skeptical. We want to be open. And you may not be face to face with us to hold our hand and make that energetic connection you were just talking about. What do we do to open our own minds beyond skepticism, Robert?
Are you saying like during a reading or?
During a reading, or just in, because there may be some people today that are saying, you know, I'd like to do that. I'd like to go see Robert, or I'd like to call Robert, but I just can't get past my own skepticism. What's a first step?
First thing I say to them is we start with we deep breathe a little, because deep breathing will get you centered, and it'll let a lot of the distractions go. The other thing is I just tell them, just listen. Don't even try to make sense of what I'm saying yet.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll go a little bit, and then I'll go to a point, and then I'll go, okay, you have any questions? Okay. At that point, they're going to say, well, I didn't understand this or this or this, and I'll clarify it, and then they'll be on track. When I read somebody, I usually give them about 5 or so minutes, and if they don't think I'm connected, they don't have to do the call. Do you see? And the reason is that the idea is to be able to synchronize with them.
Right.
Do you see? And if they're not willing or it just doesn't work, like a good example, this woman called me from Santa Fe, and she wanted me to tell her that her boyfriend was coming back. Well, at first she was easy to read, and then I says, the guy's not coming back. He's way at a distance. You probably won't hear from him again. And I could almost hear her shut down like a garage door.
Right, because you told her something that she didn't want to hear, but something that she needed to hear.
Right. Well, she said, well, other readers said he was coming back. I says, well, I think they're wrong. And, man, she didn't want none of that. And I could almost hear her conscience just shut down, you know. And I said, look, I'm not going to be able to do you any good, you know. And I let the call go.
Right.
I heard from her about 6 years later, and she was okay, but she just wasn't ready yet.
And she did confirm to you that you did not tell her what she wanted to hear.
Oh, yeah, she told me that.
She needed what she needed to hear.
She also told me, though, that she hadn't heard from him in about 5 years.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good confirmation.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, some of the work that you and I have done, and this is fascinating from my end because people come in and they want help, but oftentimes, in the counseling room, we hit blocks. Sometimes they're the client's blocks. Sometimes I think they're the therapist's block. One of the fascinating things that you've been able to do is move us past some of those blocks, Robert.
Right.
And from my perspective, it supercharges the therapy sessions. What about on your end?
Well, I love it. I absolutely love it because the people that we've worked with, skeptical absolutely, but they weren't closed-minded.
Right.
You see, and I think there's a big difference between the two things. But I love it. This is where this should be going. This intuitive work, it's where it should be going. It shouldn't be in the carnival act.
Right.
Do you see?
Right.
And I think it's the next step in the field to really legitimize it, but also to make sense of how it works and the benefits that can come from it.
Yeah.
Like the ability to help someone connect with someone that has passed on. Okay, that's incredible ability or a credible advantage because they can seal up, or deal with a lot of loose ends. You see? Now, how that works, or if it works every time, I mean, it works when it works, you know? It's that simple. But the thing about it, what you're asking about, how I feel about it, I think it's awesome. I think it's the next step, and in my own work, I do more of that kind of work than anything. I do what I do through you and the other guy. I don't know if I should mention his name, but
you can mention Gary Tiemann if you want to mention him. He would love that. Yeah.
And but the people that come here, a lot of them, like I do a coaching. Okay, this is where you're headed. This is what's going on. This is what you're taking into it. Do you see? So they can adjust their action. Do you see? So to answer your question more briefly, is awesome stuff, man.
Okay. Well, I would love to go on and on and on. We could go on and on and on, but we're out of time. And so I'm going to invite people that, do you have somebody that you want to read like a book? Do you want to be read like a book? Some of us want more information about ourselves. Saturday, September the 24th, Robert Caruso will be in Shreveport all day long from 11 o'clock until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You can contact him at 469-546-8017, or you can call me at the Center for Therapy, 227-9002. Find him online, robertcarusoonline.com. Robert, thank you. Look forward to the next time that you are our life strategist here on Strategies for Living. Folks, it's good to be back. Don't forget the radio version of Strategies, Sunday morning between 9:05 and 10 on News Radio 710 Keel. For Robert Caruso, I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. See you next time here on Strategies for Living.